Hello, everybody. Hope you're having a good day today. This is my ME1000 car project that I did in at Kennesaw in spring of 2023. And if you're interested in engineering, I think this is going to be really good to help you. The ME1000 is a basically a intro to mechanical engineering class. I think it was very good to understand what we were expected to do and how we were supposed to do it. And I believe that this was just a very interesting experience. So, just because of just trying to buy the materials, make sure, it's cost effective, things of that nature, I think is really good, I think, in my opinion. So now let's look at our presentation outline. We have our individual designs, which we did separately, design matrix, final design, bill of materials and actual cost, construction process, testing, race day results, and reflections. And the design matrix is basically what we had to do to basically prioritize some things, as I'll talk about later when we get to the design matrix. Final design was what we had to use. You know, we had to turn that in as well, and the competition is really interesting, I will say. But yeah, basically it was just interesting a project. It was a very interesting project. And like I said, the race day results is basically our competition we had to do. So now let's look at our individual designs. So Jake's design was an elastic tension steering rack launch device because of the cabinet latch that I'll talk about in a second. Spring release bolt mechanism, and like I said, cabinet latch connection. So basically, like I said, it's doing with the launch box. The launch device is the launch box with the cabinet latch, and it would hopefully have enough force so where it would go through the launcher. So that was the theory behind that, basically. And the mechanical steering, which is real elastic tension steering rack, is very interesting to say the least. But yeah, basically that was the design that he had, and we had to use green paper, which is used in a lot of engineering classes. We're just starting to get used to it. So yeah, basically that's pretty much it. In terms of this design here. But I would like to mention that we did use a hybrid of each design that we will come across, which, like I said, I think is really cool. But basically, like I said, the elastic steering, last point of the his design is elastic steering really was interesting. Clay's design here, so it's a pin attach mechanism, solid wood body, and 4 individual axles would offset wheels. As you can see in his design, he did multiple views of the vehicle. He did a side view, front view, top view, and the dimensions and whatnot that we had to scan in, which I think, like I said, is really cool to look at all our different designs and say, okay, how is this related to this? Is this going to work or not? Uh, but yeah, like I really do like his views here that he has here, and the 4 individual axles I think would be pretty cool. So now let's look at Corey's design here. A solid wood body with rounded front and angled body, 2 individual axles, and wall and nut detach mechanism. As you can see, here's his diagrams. His diagrams are here, and it has like the dimensions, which we had to have as well. We also had a 3 pound limit. I know I'm going off topic. I apologize, but a 3 pound limit we had to stick to, which I'll talk about later. Now let's look at my design. My design was a metal NASCAR design for the body. I don't know if you guys see NASCAR. I hope so. Very interesting, I'll say. Detached mechanism was a dowel cut at 60 degrees, which I thought it out later after I designed it and knew it wasn't going to work. Um, the outside mechanism for the mechanical steering, I was thinking 2 bars basically to go through and hold it to go straight, and also middle axles for both axles, by the way. So as you can see, I know it's hard to see on here. I couldn't get full screen and record it, but unfortunately, so that's why it's like this. So sorry, it's hard to see. But it was really cool to look at this and be like, wow, like that'd be interesting design. But would it work? Now let's look at the design matrix here. So the design matrix basically was what that is basically the design matrix is what we had to prioritize, and our designs were given a certain score of depending on how they do with the stuff we try to prioritize. For example, as we see, a scale of zero to one, basically for all the safety, durability, ease of manufacturing, and effectiveness. Ease of manufacturing, basically, all that means basically, is it going to be easy to build, and if it breaks, are we going to be able to put it back together? Basically, safety. The safety concerns really were built into the project. Durability is because we had 3 runs to go through, 3 rounds. Uh, but let's look at the Jake's design was a 16.5, Clay's was a 15.3, Corey's was an 18.5, and mine was a 15.75. But as we can see in the final design that we came up with, 8 came from Corey's, the other 8 came from Jake's design, the 7 was a tie between me and Clay, and overall was the effectiveness was overall. And as you see, the highest one out of all of them is our hybrid design, which is 21.85. But yeah, basically, this was really cool to do to say, okay, what are we prioritizing in this case? Which I think our hybrid design, I think, really worked out for us in the long run, I believe at least. But yeah, very cool. The safety, the durability was really, really important, though, I believe, in my opinion. Ease of manufacturing was, there, almost there. The effectiveness was just basically how effective the vehicle was going to be, how good it was going to do, basically. So yeah. But next we're going to talk about the actual final design in a second here. But let me just reiterate that all of us, had different designs. We had to grade them. We had to basically get a call and basically be like, okay, what are we prioritizing? We had to talk with the team. But now let's look at our final design. Our final design was a solid 2x6 wood body with an angled front bumper and a pin attached mechanism, 2 fixed steel axles, and hollowed out front axle allow for mechanical steering. Now, that's dealing with like the rubber bands, by the way. And the wheel weights I'll talk about later, as you see in the center of gravity, which are very, very important for us to be able to do the competition. Basically, so yeah. And as you see, we have our diagram here, as you can see. This is what it came out to be. The lower picture is the actual vehicle itself, the hybrid design that we came up in our design matrix. So the hollowed out axle base mechanical for the mechanical steering, because you have basically you have your wheels that can move, and the rubber bands help with keeping it straight, which we had to do as well. Bill of materials and cost. So our anticipated cost was $49.76, but we had to add a couple more things that was unexpected, which caused it to go up to $61.09. Like the wheel weights, like I'll mention later why we had to use wheel weights in the upcoming slides. But yeah, that was our cost for creating the vehicle that you saw in the last slide. But yeah, basically, we had to tally it up basically and do the parts. But basically, now let's look at our construction process. Our construction process, was construction of the body of the vehicle, so we had to hollow out the wheel wells and get them all ready to go for the next step. As you can see, we install the wheel and axle in its installation, and we also have the detach mechanism, which would pull out of this little hole we had on the top. Basically, which it would go up and then keep going straight through the launcher. That's why we have the pin mechanism. Yeah. So now as we look at the construction process, as you can see, the hole that you see on top that's further forward is where that pin is supposed to go. And so we have the axles and we have the rubber bands. But let's talk about this ballast that I was alluding to actually. So basically, we were 2.20 pounds when we basically weighed it, and then we had to put the wheel weights on there, and we got up to weight. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to compete, and basically, that's 10% of the grade, so it'd be very unfortunate. So we had to add those wheel weights, which is added to the bill of materials cost. which gave us the 3.08, which is good because now we can compete because we're up to weight. But yeah, uh, that's pretty much all I got for this. But basically, yeah. So now let's look at testing. I can't run the videos at the current moment, but I can do it towards the end. I could show you the underweight test that we did. The car was underweight, like I said, mentioned earlier, with the extra ballast that we had to add, and unwanted turning to the side causing it to miss a shoot, which would the rubber bands we were trying to dial it in. Now let's look at race day results. We did pretty good, I believe. We had a 3.18 weight on race day or competition day. We had a round 1 of 47.5, a round 2 of 41.5, and a round 3 of 44. But most teams didn't really do well because one had their mechanical steering fail, and the other one, the wheels fell off, and they tried to fix it. But our team did pretty decent. I mean, we didn't have anything go, catastrophically wrong. But All For One really won there with a 41.5, 54, and a round 3 of 55.5, which was All For One, the other team, with a 4.72 weight. They did really well. They got first place. We got second place. So that's not too bad, am I right? Not too shabby, right? So yeah, basically, and other teams, like I said, didn't do well because of some of them failed and some of them either missed a shoot, and whatnot, basically. Which didn't really help in terms of the distance that they had to go. But yeah. Now let's look at reflections. The last thing for reflections here. So the angle of the axles weren't perfect, so that's why we had to dial it in so much. Basically, and I think if we had more time, we'd be able to perfect it to where or at least get it to a point where it would be, we would have a lot better, we would have a lot better angle. And the rubber bands also, maybe, make it stiff, maybe add more rubber bands or tweak it to make it do better. And also the friction on the wheels was a big thing as well because that's what probably caused us to not go as far as we hoped we would, which would be good. We went 30. And we got the car did a lot better than than the race day results. But the presentation outline, as we could see, we went over everything: individual design, design matrix, final design, bill of materials, and actual cost, construction process, testing, race day results, and reflections. Any questions? Put in the comment section. And this is one of our tests without weights. It went pretty far. Sorry for no audio, but yeah. It's one of my teammates. And this is race day. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a good day today. See you next time.